Yeah, I mean, the topic is very relevant. The woman who believes builds. Because to build something, first you have to believe in yourself, you have to believe in the vision, you have to believe that there is merit in doing what you do. Even though we are all a drop in the ocean, so we can never take too much pride or, sort of think that we are going to change the world. कुछ हम पूरी ज़िंदगी भी कर लें तो इतना सा डेंट होगा, but you have to do your bit. The whole idea is you do your bit, and you can only build something, create something, if you believe in your own self. And your own self doesn't mean just you, right? It means the vision, it means the team, it means the people you take along with yourself. No, I don't think that earlier women were really. I think it's the collective narrative कि औरत की दुश्मन होती है, and women being pitted against each other. I don't think it was before or now. The women have supported each other. Sometimes they've also competed, because when you get too little, then you compete for that attention. And there's a saying that says, "The one who hurts hurts." The one who is like the one who suffers, makes the other person sometimes suffer. That happens, unfortunately. So you just sometimes mother-in-law, daughter-in-law ki baatein karte. But I also know some incredible stories where there are deep bonds between mother-in-laws and daughter-in-laws. So we can't generalize. But sometimes what happens, this becomes like a collective narrative that this is how it is. But I think it's more a perception. I think women do support each other because there's a sense of shared experience, and we understand each other. I've met people on a flight or just sitting next to somebody at dinner, and you start talking, and sometimes you start sharing your most personal things because you just feel like, my God, there's a connect. This person understands me. Or they share. I've sometimes been like a counselor talking to women that I don't even know. So I think we have to change the perception and not sort of keep repeating this idea of औरत की दुश्मन है. Thank you. Um, when you're making choices or when you're taking a certain path, if it comes from a place of authenticity, and you're making those choices because that's what you believe in, that's what you think is the right thing for you to do, then you're not thinking whether it's a path breaking or whether it is different or whether it's unconventional. You're just doing what comes naturally to you. That is your natural self. So, like you said, I've done very unconventional films, or I've chosen to do certain kind of more independent work, and not so much commercial mainstream films. That's a choice I made because my parents actually didn't watch films. So and I never wanted to be an actor. I came into it by accident, and I enjoyed the process. I'm much more a journey person, so I'm more invested in sort of in the journey than having to reach somewhere. So I think at the time, yeah, they were. Now when I look back, maybe they were unconventional choices, but for me, I was just following my instinct. Right. I mean, there are moments of doubts, there are moments of dilemmas. We all go through those. It was more about that, should I really even be in this field? Because I did my masters in social work. I was working with NGOs. I really enjoyed working there. And slowly my social work became more social advocacy, which means I was talking about these issues. And I used to sometimes feel I'm just talking about it. I'm not really doing anything. I wish I could do more. But then I was finding it difficult to sort of balance with some of the acting work I was doing. Also, I realized that advocacy also has a small role to play, because you then become the mouthpiece or the catalyst, for people who are doing amazing work on the ground for issues that are not being, there's no limelight to it. Then you start, it's not just talking. It's not कि आप भाषण दे रहे हो, ज्ञान दे रहे हो. It's actually you are sharing your concerns, asking questions, hopefully making people think about those. So I started realizing maybe this too is worth spending time on. But of course I've had many dilemmas, and because when I direct, the kind of films that I do are not that massy, and then everyone says, oh, I wish you would do more mainstream, then more people will even watch your kind of film. But then I feel that if I had done that, or if I do that, will I be the same person? Right now, my world is much more than just the film world. I interact with a whole lot of different kinds of people, I do different kinds of things, and I think that's what makes me who I am. And I don't know if I'm ready to give up on the person for maybe the gains that I might get as a professional. Thank you. Also, like I've been supporting this campaign called Dark is Beautiful, and so many young women come up to me, and it's not only about skin color. Body shaming we do so easily, right? Ageism, for instance. Acha, you're like 50 plus, तो मतलब समझ जाओ you're in the grave. You've like passed your prime, and as if it's just downhill from here. But I feel this is the time when एक ठहराव आ जाता है. You start thinking, reflecting in a much deeper way, and I'm actually loving growing old. Like, I don't think I want to be 20 again. So there are so many things that also, my problem is there's no pet issue. Like, everything, there's so much of disparity, so much of discrimination, so much of violence. How can you not care for everything that's happening around you? And if you care for everything that's happening around you, you want to talk about all those. See, firstly, when we say women, who are we talking about? The for women also, the class matters, the background matters. Where you're coming from, what kind of freedom have you got? There are many different women. Like, I can't say I represent an Indian woman or you represent an Indian woman. We can't generalize, because there's so many different experiences. While there are shared experiences, but also a lot of other things also impact your caste, your class, your upbringing. All of that impacts how much freedom you have got to be yourself. And I think we keep taking 2 steps forward, 2 steps backward. I mean, look at our figures on female feticide. Abhi bhi, matlab, you can't, sex discrimination is banned, because when a girl child is born, they still kill a fetus. They still kill an actual living girl child because it's a girl. So many women have told me how their husbands have abandoned because ladki paida ho gayi. So yesterday only somebody told me how the husband was beating her up, and I was trying to find from the domestic cell. I found out last night. In fact, I spent a lot of time trying to find in her area where she can go, and she was so scared. She said, when I go to the police station, they say this is a domestic issue. You go to the court. How can I, a mother of a 2-year-old child, take the risk of going? Like, you're out of your wits. There is structurally there's no help. In terms of family, there is very little support. So, I mean, we still have a long way to go, but I don't want to be a cynic. I mean, yes, there are women also questioning a lot more. The young women are not taking things for granted. They are learning to say no better than maybe our generation, or the older generation. So things are changing for sure, and they will change. But the point is, how can we hasten this process? There is a sense of urgency. Otherwise, many more lives are perishing. Yes. Yeah, no, motherhood has had a deep impact on me. I was a very late mother, and I don't judge it. I mean, some women have chosen not to have children. Many of my friends have chosen not to have children, and they're very happy, and they don't have the responsibility. Sometimes we look at them with envy. Sometimes they look at us with envy. So, you can't, I mean, in every experience, there are pros and cons to it. But I think definitely for especially for Indian and traditional society women, where you have to do, where you're working outside and you have to still take care of the house and everything, right? I think things will only change when the man also starts sharing some of the home load, right? Because many times if you're an affluent woman, the man is turning around saying, why are you working? Then don't work. I have enough money, you don't need to work. It's not only a need. Just as a man, even if you give him all the salary, would you be able to just lock him in a room and just say that, I'm going to give you the money, but you just sit here and clean up the house and give the children the food and make the tiffin box and think what you need to buy next, and make sure all of that is happening? You couldn't. So women also have desires, women have dreams. We are human beings. I'm not even saying about women, we just want to be treated as a person, just as a human being, nothing more. So I feel like, of course, it's a big struggle for women when they are juggling, and all women juggle. I haven't met a single woman who is not feeling overworked, who's not feeling tired, who's not juggling. So I think 8-hour shift is when you become a parent, like to answer your question, is absolutely valid. It's already difficult. 8 hours, 8 hours you're sleeping, 8 hours you're working, and at least 8 hours you have to do all other things with your child and family and yourself. As women, we put ourselves the last all the time, and I hope that change we can see in our lifetime. Yeah, so I'm exploring, in fact, similar themes, what we are talking about, and let's hope it's about marriage and relationship and all of that. And yeah, so let's see. I'm trying to also find people who actually care about such stories, if they would come together to produce it, and not go to a regular typical film studio. If I will need to, I will do the rounds, like I've done for my earlier 3 films. But it would be wonderful to have individuals who care about the story to come forward and, sort of a kind of a crowdfunding, have different people come together to make the film. So let's hope. But hopefully early next year I should be able to shoot it. I'll be directing. I've written it as well, and I'll be directing and also producing. So I've been wearing these 3 hats. Yeah, initially when I wrote it, I thought I could act in this, and this is probably the only film that I can act and direct. But I don't know. Now I feel like no, somebody else should do it, because when you're directing, there's so much to take care of. I don't know whether I'll be able to do justice to either, because it's a very immersive role. It's a very important role, so that has its own demands, and the direction has its own demands. So let's see how it unfolds. What is the destiny of the film?